Blind Albino, When Pigs Fly, developer video number 3. Hello again, everybody. This is Matt. And in this video, among other things, we're going to be looking at the creation of the title page. It's going to be all one set, all one photograph. We're not going to composite it together in Photoshop or anything. And so we're going to create some of those elements in this video. And it's going to be twofold. One, we're going to see the structure around the set. It's not going to be shown in the photograph, but there's going to be a mobile that hangs down with some of the pig enemies from this structure out of frame. There's going to be a rod bent around the back that a curtain is going to hang from. So there'll be a red Black Lodge-esque velvet curtain in the background, very Twin Peaks, David Lynch. In the very center, there's going to be a wooden figure posed up on some cylindrical steps. Again, very theatrical. I'll be cutting some wooden discs and then making some clay bases for each disc. And across the front, down at the base, will be a ribbon that kind of flows across, and the name of the app, When Pigs Fly, will float across the front of that ribbon. And maybe for the base, we're thinking to stick with the theme. We're going to use a cutting mat that's got a grid pattern on it because it looked really nice when it was foreshortened. Thank you, Ryan Gosling. So without further ado, let's get started.
This guy's heart is 100% in this.
So for this title shot graphic, of course, it would save a lot of time and a lot of effort if I would composite these elements in Photoshop or some other post-production after the fact. But putting everything together in one shot in real time, in one space, it's very satisfying to me as an artist. And I enjoy that extra challenge. So it's a labor of love. Even though I know we could save time and take other means, and the audience, you guys, you might not even require this of me, but I find it very satisfying personally.
I kind of wonder how it's going to monetize, because it is like not aggressive at all to a point that I think is going to be detrimental. Or like no one wants to friends.
Just me and Jared.
There's like a similar like goal structure.
I think yes, but you're right though. Like, because you have to do it.
It's one of those things where it's like I would go through each level slowly.
This is the exact kind of dog shit game that like I feel like IGN commenters point at when you look at the App Store. It's like almost like self-parody that a game like this is #1.
Yeah. Well, you know, people work on games for like years, or you know, like, and then they launch it, and then
anything happened to her?
Well, the terrible plot is kind of making sure of that. I'll whisper my PayPal password to you.
Don't be jealous. She's only like the 9th most beautiful model in Italy.
For our title page, there's going to be a ribbon across the bottom that folds back on itself a couple times. And I'm going to paint When Pigs Fly across the front for the title graphic. And I wanted to glue these two together so that when it doubles back, you can see that interesting color pattern happening. But as you can see, the glue that I'm using is ruining the effect. I think that's pretty ugly right there. So I'll find another solution. So right now, this is Seda Lyons. She is co-founder and artistic brilliance behind Albino Studios. Basically, like you guys have seen before, through my failed experiment, this glue was not working. It shows through and looks crappy. So she volunteered to sew it for me. I almost forgot to introduce Ralph Kitty. Oh my gosh. Ralph Kitty is the true inspiration behind everything we do. And thanks for letting me throw the camera in your face.
Totally. Just a question though. I mean, you can do the audio, your own audio in post, right?
Yeah.
Post?
What's post?
Keep flailing.
You mean like something that holds up a fence or something that I use to deliver mail?
The thread is a matte. And of course
Right.
this is shiny. So it's sticking out more because of that.
No, I love this
And the
stitch.
length is longer.
Yeah. See, to
So
me,
it's not hidden.
I don't mind people seeing the craft in our work.
Yeah, I
That's
got
what the
that.
project is about. I love it. See, I forget that you can even run a sewing machine over little metal needles.
Well, you
So-
can, but you're not supposed to, obviously.
Yeah,
You
but
take,
you're a
you take them
professional.
out before.
So don't try this at home, people. She's a professional.
You're welcome to. Just don't get one in your eye.
So is this going to be incredibly labor intensive, putting...
No, I mean, it just takes time, but like I said, I'll do that in front of sports, so I'm there anyway.
Yeah, a lot of what we're doing on this game is you enter this meditative, repetitive mantra state where you just kind of find some way to accept that it's going to be time consuming, and so you just start.
Which is craft. I mean,
That is craft, yeah.
the Bronte sisters, they wrote all of their books while quilting. Thank you.
You'll see more from Seda soon, and you better bet you're going to see more of me.
The dog will land on the giant cat that you're standing on, and you'll get like a hit.
These pieces are all recycled. They were a workbench in an old studio that I used to share with some dear friends of mine. So, in addition to all the other artistic, lofty ideals that Blind Albino tries to represent, we also represent going green, recycling as much as possible. Oh, it's gonna be bigger than I thought.
Apparently, it triggered something in him. He said thanks, hung up the phone, and went back to work.
Haven't decided exactly how I want to pose the figure yet either. I've played around a bit, but ultimately that's not terribly important. What's really important, I think, is just having the composition there. The name for the app, we want that lit properly as well. These are actually bamboo blowgun darts that I found online. I'm going to cut them off at a certain height and position these around, and these are what's going to suspend the ribbon in midair in front of everything. Pretty soon also you'll see Seda working on some of the dyeing process for the fabric, the curtain in the background. We really wanted it to be something special, and so we ordered some very specific velvety, satiny, felt-like cloth, and she's going to custom hand dye it herself. Two things. First, I had a bit of a camera snafu, and I accidentally lost the footage of Seda dyeing this curtain. This was white when we ordered it, and now it's this beautiful, luscious red. And Seda is quite the fabric artist, and she did all this color alchemy by hand, and unfortunately I lost that footage. But here's a still photograph of her setup, just to kind of give you a glimpse into that process. So my apologies, Seda. The second point is I've got a major concern right now for myself. Our programmer John, he's being really patient with me. He needs me to get him a huge stack of sprite sheets for Unity, and I need to know how Unity interprets those sprite sheets, because I need to make sure all the registration points stay aligned properly. And I'm concerned that some kind of automated process of exporting from Photoshop will make things lose their registration. So I'm hoping it's very simple, but if I can't figure that out, that's kind of a big problem. I'm really concerned about that. So I'm going to take a time out. I'm going to go hit the books, hit the tutorials, hit the pillow first. I'm exhausted, so I'll get back to that very soon. I'm not a programmer, and I can't sit down with Unity and work with it myself. But that's one thing I love about creative software, is once you just learn the terminology for any given package, the concepts carry over and translate perfectly. Imaginary crisis averted. You got to get the programmers what they need. You guys, hey, all of you, support your programmers, all right? They're artists too, in their own way.
I mean, I could draw one, take it into Photoshop, skew it, and make 5 and make them beautiful, and do, you know, force perspective and get this, draw guidelines and everything. But that's not exactly what I want out of this. I want a drawing that's like, yeah, I drew that. It's a thing, and it's not perfect, but it's...
And also, it's something where, if you look at a blueprint, where it's very purposeful.
Your love was hanging by a thread. So what I'm up to right now is I'm going to do some initial tests for creating the mobile structure. There's going to be some enemy pigs hanging on a mobile above this character. And scale is not something that I have set. But for now I'm just going to design it to scale with this prop and see how it goes. Got a good start. That looks good to me. That looks like it's maybe about the right size. It doesn't crowd the shoulders and head space of our figure. The camera will have enough room between the enemy types to be able to see them and not have our figure obscured. There'll be enough space for light to come through to fully light this character and create the shadows. And good to go. Alright everybody, as always, thank you for watching. We're going to wrap up this third video here. Seda and I have a whole bunch of more ideas for enemy types that we want to create before we decide which enemies to hang from the mobile. And also the floor, the black cutting mat that you saw me using for the stage. It's way too small for the photograph, and so we have a large one on order, but it's going to take a couple weeks to get here. So we're going to close out this video. We'll finish up in the next video showing you some new enemy types that we're making, finish up the mobile, take a couple pictures of the title page, and I'd like to introduce you to our programmer, John. He's really awesome. Hi, John. And we'll see what else we can cram into that fourth video as well. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support. We will see you next time.